Welcome to this free Feng Shui webinar, where we will gain an understanding of exactly what Feng Shui is and how it is already affecting our lives in our own homes and offices. My name is Alan Stirling, and I've been a Feng Shui master for over 30 years. I have an international practice and work globally at all levels of society. I also teach people how to become professional Feng Shui consultants and how to get great results for themselves and their clients. My school is known as the Feng Shui School of Excellence. In all my time in learning and teaching, I found that nature is by far the greatest teacher. And for the greatest impression in the shortest amount of time, please allow me to explain how Feng Shui works using natural phenomena. Why is nature relevant, you might ask? Well, Feng Shui actually means wind and water. Now that might seem fairly innocuous, so how do these two elements have such an incredible effect on our lives? Well, life cannot exist without water. It shapes our lives, our trade and our culture, whilst wind distributes seeds, grows crops and shapes land masses. One is seen or tangible, while the other is unseen and intangible, yet they both work together in a constant harmony, one continually affecting the other and vice versa. For instance, the warm currents in our ocean evaporate and becomes wind. Wind drives the clouds and delivers moisture necessary for agriculture. Yet this harmony is what is seen and unseen is what Feng Shui is mostly associated with. Let me explain that by returning to our previous example, those warm currents producing warm air or areas of high pressure. They must flow to areas of low pressure to create a solid state of equilibrium or harmony. This unseen movement of air is considered as force. Yet when applied to an object, it's termed as power. Power is defined as the ability to make things happen. And that's what we see, the results of things that have happened. Now, everybody in Feng Shui bandies the word energy about, so let me change that to something that is a direct result of making things happen. But let's call it performance. Life is simple in this regard. When you put the best fuel in, you get the best results out. Or in other words, under the correct influence, you gain more power and increasingly make better things happen. You do this by increasing your performance, by thinking, interacting, and communicating better with others, which generally leads to fulfillment, success, and happiness. Interestingly, shaman of old used to go to high energy areas or power spots in nature to absorb, which is all that is needed as the high energy of locale flows to the person. They then took this influence back to their tribes and they transferred it to others in terms of wisdom, inspiration, creativity, healing, protection, and so much more. Of course, the shaman didn't stop there. They kept on returning to the high energy spots and by transference continued to raise the awareness and performance of their whole family and villages, bringing peace, prosperity, and fulfillment to all. However, what do you think life would be like if they could live there? Or if they could create their own power spot in their own village or even home? How much better would their lives be then? Well, this is where Feng Shui comes into its own and has done for millennia. Feng Shui is based on several universal laws, one of which is known as the law of correspondence, or as above, so below, as within, so without. Using the principle of harmony, that is, by changing something, we affect something else. Feng Shui helps transform people's lives by calibrating an environment to find the highest energy or power spot within it. Once located, placing real water in the form of a water feature or an aquarium enables air or wind to condense and water to evaporate. Both processes release energy into the environment. This can then empower all occupants, increasing their performance exponentially, as well as quality of life and success. When used correctly in an office, it also increases staff morale and greatly reduces sick leave. Feng Shui has been doing this for millennia, and its findings have been recorded to enable Feng Shui masters and skilled practitioners to read your environment, then tell you exactly what is happening in your life. We can then tell if lower energy is draining or having a negative effect in any part of your life, such as health, relationships, wealth, creativity, career, etc., as well as respect, self-esteem, and even how well you sleep. We then tell you what you can easily do within your home to transform and improve your situation, or just find new inspiration and purpose. This is why Feng Shui has been revered, respected, and even coveted by the most powerful dynasties and families around the world, not just China. Now, as the East reaches out for what the Western world has, and the West reaches out for the mysticism of the Orient, Feng Shui emerged for the masses and is so needed today, particularly as we tend to live in isolation, away from nature's nurturing influence, in tower blocks and concrete cities. There has never been a better time to learn Feng Shui.